The holidays are just around the corner, which is a very exciting but sometimes overwhelming time with all of the things that are going on, all of the things you have to do. There can be a lot of expenses involved, events with family and friends, baking and cooking that you might have to do, gifts you have to give. The list kind of seems to go on, and I polled people on Instagram to see what was the most stressful part of the holidays. And I did agree with what a lot of people said. And I'm going to show you some of the things that people said were the most stressful and how I deal with them, and just kind of take you through how I'm prepping for the holidays. I also want to mention that I do have a printable on my website. I have it printed out. I'm going to be using it today. It has things like a gift tracker, expense tracker, a thank you note tracker for gifts that you get, a calendar that you can fill out, a spot for travel plans. It has a holiday bucket list, a decor inventory, lots and lots of things. So again, we're gonna go through all of the things I'm gonna do to get prepped for the holidays and get a little bit more organized. And I think the first thing I wanna do is undecorate from fall and get a clean slate going. So let's start with the undecorating. Honestly, that feels so much better, getting all of my fall decor cleaned up. I kind of just want to leave it this way for a little while longer before I get my holiday decor up. I'd love to hear from you. Are you somebody that does it right after Halloween on November 1st? Do you do it right after Thanksgiving? Somewhere in between, somewhere even later than that? I would love to hear. I usually do it because of YouTube a little bit earlier. I wait till after Halloween, but I typically do it just a little bit before Thanksgiving. So I'll have a little break and then I'm gonna decorate so I can get a video for you, which should be coming out very soon, of me decorating my space. But before we move on, I wanted to share some of the things that I'm gonna do at the outset that are really helpful in this printable. And the first thing, even if you don't have this printable, you can still do all of this. The first thing that you should do is get a brain dump going of all of those things that are stressing you out, all of the things that you have going on. And that brain dump is gonna lead you to filling out the rest of the different things that you have going on, whether it's taking part of your brain dump and putting it into your November and December calendars. So that's something I'm gonna do. You'll see I have my computer here. I'm also going to not only just have all the stressful things brain dumped out, but I'm also gonna do a little bit of a bucket list if there are some lights shows in the area that we wanna go see, or fun holiday activities and events that I'd like our family to participate in. Maybe research some events. So if I wanna go see holiday lights, figure out where I can do that and when I can do that, and get that on a calendar if possible. If you're planning on sending out holiday cards, this is a great time to work on your address list. Make sure you have the holiday card that you're going to send out all put together. You have the photo that you want to use, you've ordered it and all of that stuff. Get that done as soon as possible so you can get them out in time for the holidays and for the new year. As you're doing all of this, I also like to have an expense tracker because that can be one of the major stressors of the holidays. So if you are planning these things out, if you are going to the lights show, I'm gonna keep using that example, if there's a ticket price associated with it, put that into your expense tracker. If you have holiday plans, add that to your calendar and also add that to your expense tracker. So you see the theme. As you brain dump things out, then add it into those different spaces, whether it falls into a bucket list item or a calendar item or an expense item, or again, some of these things can be a bucket list item, a calendar item, and an expense item. But this process is going to be completely unique to you. It could look like you sitting down with a pen and paper. It could look like you sitting down with your family and chatting. You could do what I'm doing and have kind of a combination with these trackers and my computer here so I can do a little bit of research. But whatever you do, I would start with that brain dump phase. So I am going to do that myself and check back in just a little bit. If you plan on having any guests this holiday season, this is a great time to get a jump start on getting your guest room together, giving it a little bit of a refresh, making sure your sheets are freshly washed. I love to have a little bin or basket, whatever you have that you can use in your guest room to make guests feel a little bit more comfortable, almost make it like a little bit of a hotel. So if one of your guests forgets something, you have it right here for them, or even if it's not something that they forget, there's an added little touch or a treat for them. I like to add things like toiletries, of course, a mini toothpaste, just like the one you get from the dentist you can stick in there, an extra toothbrush that you get from the dentist, any little beauty products or makeup wipes. I always also add in a treat like a granola bar or something, some fresh bottled water, a couple of quick medications so your guests don't feel like they have to bother you if they need an Advil or a Tylenol, or I have a container of Tums in there. I even have a little eye mask, you put a face mask in there, just something to let them pamper themselves. And I've had a lot of guests say how nice it is to have that stuff there. The other thing I do just to make life simple for them is I put a little sign with our Wi-Fi. So I have our network and our password here so they don't have to ask me. And I've simplified our Wi-Fi password so that our guests are able to easily type it in. It's not a whole bunch of jumbled stuff. So little touches like that in your guest room are going to go a long way. We even have a robe and slippers in here like a hotel. And so I also want to make sure those things are washed. My towels are ready and folded because it's winter time. Maybe there's an extra blanket in your guest room, but I just freshly washed the sheets. So what I need to do in here to get my guest room prepared is make the bed. This is one of my favorite parts of getting ready for the holidays because I love to cook and bake. And throughout the year, I always encounter recipes that I'm like, oh, this would be perfect for the holidays. So I do try and flag those things, but a lot of times I just bypass them, whether it's in a cookbook or in one of my recipe binders, or if it's something I found online. And this is my time to review all of that stuff, put it back onto some sort of a list that I can refer to. So I have all of those items that I've been thinking about baking and cooking over the holidays. Don't forget them and end up kicking myself when it's January, February, or even into the spring. And I've kind of missed out on all of those holiday and winter flavors. So I am going to pull out even more than this probably. I'm not gonna do it all today, but I do wanna get a jump start. I've pulled out some of my favorite cookbooks. I have one all for desserts. I am Jewish, so I have a Jewish cookbook, which would be great to look through for some Hanukkah recipes. I have an Ina Garten cookbook that I'm going through, and then I have one of my recipe binders. So I'm just gonna look over all of those recipes and do some quick reviewing of things that I would love to make and get some sticky notes and put those in there. This process, again, is going to look different depending on what your holidays look like. If you are like me, I'm not hosting Thanksgiving, I'm not hosting Christmas, I'm not hosting Hanukkah and having a large gathering for one of the traditional holidays. If you are, there's gonna be a lot more planning going on, and I do have a holiday menu planner, so that would be a great thing to plan out appetizers, what your main meal is, desserts, drinks. Also, I would start to plan out a shopping list so it has a spot for a shopping list at the grocery store. If you're going to be assigning different parts of the meal to people who might be coming, doing a little bit of a potluck style, that's a great time to identify who might be doing what or what dishes need to be outsourced or you'd like to be outsourced. We do have our son's birthday in December, so that's something that I will be hosting. I will be hosting a little birthday gathering here, which I'll be cooking for. So that's something I have to add on to my plate that you might not necessarily have, but it's also possible that you might be having another gathering where food is involved that isn't one of those large traditional holidays that you might want to use a menu planner or start to get going on that menu. And also, I will say this is a great great time if you are cooking or baking for others and you don't know what recipe you're gonna make yet, and you aren't super confident in a particular recipe to share with other people. This is an opportunity to give it a test run. I like to do that. I like to make something first before I share it with others. So by getting started early, you have an opportunity to test your recipe, maybe on your immediate family that lives just with you, or you can just try it yourself before you bring it to a large family gathering or to your coworkers or whatever it might be. So I am going to look through these cookbooks, get going here. Another thing you could do is scroll Pinterest, look online, but just start to keep in mind what large events you might have, whether you're hosting or you might be asked to bring a food item, as well as dishes that you want to cook at home for you and your family. One of the big categories that seemed to really stress people out when I polled on Instagram was gift giving. Now, there's a couple of things that I like to do to prepare myself for gift giving. Number one is getting an organized wrapping paper station going. So I have it here in my basement. I have 2 drawers here. The first drawer has my tissue paper. I even have a couple of gifts ready to give. So I have like a little Santa mug here. I do have a couple of little baby toys, baby gifts, which are probably less likely to help me out during the holidays. But the mug is really helpful if I do want to maybe just give somebody a quick thank you that gives me a gift that I wasn't expecting and I'm caught off guard. I could toss like a little Starbucks gift card in there or something. I also have a box in here with smaller little gift boxes. And then over here on the other side, I have containers with all of my ribbons and little mini bows. And then I have some organza gift bags as well. So down here, I have all of my wrapping paper at the front of the drawer. I have a lot of this little paper filler that I can use. Tons of gift bags. I really like having some of these wine bags. I grabbed these from the Target dollar spot last year when they went on sale, just to kind of get prepped. I also have a little organizer here with all of my holiday and gift tags. So you'll see I have stuff for Valentine's Day. I have some stickers that you can use on gifts you're giving to people, or if you are putting like gifts under a Christmas tree, or you have a bunch of different gifts that you're giving to a bunch of people and you need to label who they're to and who they're from. Having those gift tags ready is very helpful. I also have little tags like this that say baked with love and have a sweet holiday. Little things like this are great for homemade treats, which I really enjoy making. So I have some treat bags in here as well. Just lots of things, everything I could ever want for a gift wrapping station. Another tool I would suggest is this little wrapping paper cutter. This thing you can actually use to keep your wrapping paper from unraveling, but it also has a cutter on there so you don't have to use scissors. I will link this in the description box if you're interested in it. But having this wrapping paper situation all set ahead of time is going to help me with the wrapping process, and it's also going to help me get it organized before the holidays to realize, oh shoot, I don't have any holiday paper, or I have way too much, I don't need to buy any more, and that is going to make things just a little bit easier. When it comes to gift giving, the other thing that you can do to get organized is really prepare yourself, making that list of everyone you need to purchase a gift for. If you have ideas for what types of things you want to get, I would start getting those ideas listed out. If you don't have ideas and you need ideas, reaching out to a family member or somebody else who knows that person better to help you spark ideas. It's just going to help beat the crunch of you impulse purchasing something that that person might not like. You kind of regret the purchase as well, but it's also going to help your budget. So you'll see behind me, I already have some toys for our son that I've purchased for the holidays. He does have a December birthday, so some of it's gonna be for his birthday, some of it's gonna be for the holidays. And the reason I already have some of this is because I'm trying to shop and get on those deals and pay for things at a discounted rate instead of paying full price just because I was not prepared and unorganized. So I bought some of this stuff during Target's recent sales that they've had on toys, or Amazon when they had their deal days. We have Black Friday coming up, so making that wish list of items for yourself, maybe for gifts for your family members, for your friends, your coworkers, and all of those people, and paying attention when there are sales and shopping those discounts. It's going to help your budget and it's going to help you stay a little bit more stress-free. The other thing you can do if you are ahead of the game is if you have these gifts already, you can start going ahead and wrapping them once you've gotten your wrapping paper station all set up. One tip that I heard that I thought was really cool is if you have multiple children or family members and you don't want to use those gift tags, especially with kids maybe who can't read, you can wrap your kids' presents in different colored wrapping paper. So you can say to your child, okay, all of the presents that are wrapped in blue are yours, or all of the presents that are wrapped in green are yours. And it's just kind of a fun idea. Everybody knows whose present is whose and there's not a bunch of confusion. And then you can have a fun variant of wrapping paper and make it look really pretty with a setup of all of the gifts. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get started and get a couple of these presents wrapped. I mentioned that I like to keep track of gifts that I get, make sure I'm sending out thank you notes. I also like to send out different holiday cards throughout the year aside from a large family holiday card. So a few things in that area that really keep me organized. Number one is having a thank you note tracker that has a spot for me to put when I got a gift, who it was from, what it was, and a checkbox for whether I've sent a thank you note or not, just so I don't lose track of anything. I want to do this for the whole family, make sure if our child gets a gift, we're keeping track of that as well, and make sure a thank you note gets out. In terms of cards, I want to be prepared there too, of course. So I do have a greeting card organizer here. And in this greeting card organizer, it is so empty right now. So good thing I'm doing this because that means that I need to restock it before I get to a time where I actually need these items. So in this organizer, there's more things beyond holiday cards. I have spots for congratulations, holidays, thank you cards, birthday cards, others, extra envelopes, and my holiday card spot is completely empty. So I need to go grab just some generic holiday cards so I can give them to people if something comes up and I've already sent out our family holiday card or anything like that. And then thank yous, I only have a few left besides our ones from our wedding, which I do use sometimes, but if it's a thank you note from our son and it says Sophie and Jim on it, that's not really gonna work. So I need some more generic or blank thank you cards. And I will link this organizer in the description box below because it is so incredibly useful, especially for the holiday time, but throughout the entire year. Decor is such a fun one and really should not be stressful. I highly recommend doing a decor inventory, whether you use a sheet to actually write down and fill out all of your inventory and keep track of it that way, or you at least do the step of pulling out your decor bins and looking through them generally before you go out and purchase a bunch of things. It can be so exciting to see advertisements and things in the store that spark your interest and you think, oh my gosh, I want to buy this, I want to put it in my house. But so often, at least when I personally do that, I end up unnecessarily spending money and buying things that I don't have an actual spot to put in my house when I go to decorate. So I would try and hold off unless you have done this in the past, you've done a decor inventory and you know that you're on the hunt for a new wreath or a new garland or a new menorah, whatever it is. If you are on the hunt for that specific thing, then you can totally go out and purchase it right away before you've done your inventory again for this year or before you've started decorating. But if not, I would do a decor inventory, I would look through what you have, and even better yet, I would wait till you're finished decorating and you identify those holes in your decor where you want to add things and go out and shop with purpose, because it can be so easy to overspend, buy all the bright shiny things, quite literally, because so many of these decor items are bright and shiny and beautiful and very enticing to purchase. But please hold off, save your money and save your house from a whole lot of clutter by going through things. So now that I've gotten my fall stuff cleaned up, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull down these bins. I have done a decor inventory and I'm not gonna go out and purchase anything. I'm just gonna look through what I have and probably do my decorating first and then see what holes I have and potentially make a few more purchases, but most likely there's not gonna be much that I have to purchase. Thanks so much for joining me today. I have my clean slate. I'm ready for the holidays. I hope this inspires you to get prepped and ready for the holidays as well. And if you do want to check out that printable, I will leave a link in the description box below. But until next time, I will see you all later.